Welcome to Oasis. My name is Deanna Heiss. Behind the camera, we have Jeff Rolwing, and out there, we have you. No matter who you are or where you come from, you are welcome here. Our guest speaker for tonight's meditation and word is Betsy Bush. Like many of us, Betsy wears several hats at one time. In no particular order, she is a daughter, a sister, a wife, a mother, a volunteer, a friend, and a St. Luke's member. Timing and logistics made it easier for Betsy to record herself from her own home, and so that is where you will see her speaking from. We are so grateful for her time and to hear part of her story. Welcome, Betsy Bush.
Hi there, my name is Betsy and my husband Eric and our three boys have been members of St. Luke's for about 5 years since moving to Wisconsin. And I'm so grateful to be able to share a little bit about my faith with you today, and certainly grateful for this wonderful, supportive, and welcoming community. I work as a perinatal nurse and lactation consultant here in Madison. Most of my work revolves around providing education and support to new parents about how to care for their babies. So it is truly an honor to be able to witness and walk alongside families as they welcome a new life into this world. And while there are many highs with that, of course, I tend to work and deal with some of the little bit harder moments that are often sort of fraught with exhaustion and worry for new parents. Many years ago, after graduating from college, I packed up my bags and moved from the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia to the Rocky Mountains of Colorado. And there, my first job was actually with the Children's Hospital with their Center for Child Abuse and Neglect. And I worked there as a research associate doing developmental assessments on infants in foster care. And these infants, most of them had been neglected or abused, some in really significant ways. And that experience has just forever shaped me as a nurse and as a parent. And really because of this, I'm so motivated in my work with new parents to ensure that they have the skills they need to safely care for their baby. And so those of you who are parents might be able to recall just the worry, feelings of helplessness, frustration that you can feel when your baby is really fussy, and especially when it's really hard to soothe them through that fussiness. And so in my classes and at the bedside after birth, we review soothing techniques, we practice them, we make a plan for when things get tough, we provide additional resources. We do all those things, but probably the most important thing that I say to new parents is after you've addressed all your baby's physical needs, sometimes what they need most is just for you to be there with them, right? Holding them close and not just being with them through their struggle, right? Just being there with them, not having them be alone. And it doesn't solve it, right? Eventually they just work through it. So it may not solve it in that exact moment, but it will make a difference for the parent and for the baby. And maybe, a set of earplugs would also be nice. But what I've realized is that much of parenting, regardless of what age your child is, it's not really about solving your child's problem or removing their pain, but to bear witness to it, to validate it. And I don't know about you, but my teenagers definitely do not want me to solve their problems, right? They sure like to be grumpy and to complain about it, but they definitely do not want me to solve it. And they usually aren't too excited for me to make suggestions about it. So more often than not, I find that what they need most is just some compassion and understanding, right? A presence, some empathy as they sort of work through it. It reminds me it's not so different than their fussy baby phase or their toddler tantrums. A few weeks ago, I was feeling particularly down after one of my boys received some tough medical news. As a mom, I still want to do anything I can to take this from him, to carry that weight for him. And while I can teach him how to care for himself and advocate for himself, there's nothing I can't take it away from him. And I was feeling pretty distraught and helpless. And what did I do? I called my own mom. And she couldn't change how I was feeling. She couldn't make that go away, but she could bear witness to my struggle, just as I was doing that for my son. It reminds me a little bit of what the pastor told my husband and I on our wedding day about what our vows really meant. And it meant not to go away, right? To be there hand in hand through all that life throws at us. The ups and downs and twists and turns. And man, 2020 has thrown a lot at us. But like parenting during those fussy bouts, loving your partner, right? It's far from glamorous, far from romantic during a lot of those moments. But it's really important. And sometimes those are the moments that make the biggest difference. This presence, this steadfastness reminds me of God's presence in our lives. He shows up, right? He is there when we feel most alone. He walks beside us as we navigate these challenges that we face. Ever present. A model for us, I believe, in how we should love and care for another. This past year, I was so fortunate. I was able to help with the Joy Group, the 5th grade Joy Group, sort of this year of service. And twice a month, we put together some really cool service projects. And we had a fantastic spring planned, and it came to a screeching COVID halt, right? And I thought, what are we going to do with these kids? And how do we keep this going? Does it just fall apart? Well, like so many things, we pivoted to Zoom. We got on Zoom, and again, I was like, I don't really know what to do here. I don't have any answers to what's going on. But it was really cool because in those Zoom meetings that we had with our 5th graders, they just were there for each other, and they talked about how their days had become so boring and the loss of activities and maybe some bright spots, mini pandemic puppy additions. They talked about socially distant gatherings with grandparents, where one family would be, part of the family would be on the deck, and down below on the driveway or patio, the grandparents would be. And they talked about their favorite video games, which, are still being played very frequently. So it just, to me, was another example and a very powerful one of what it meant to just be present, right? To just walk alongside each other through this uncertain and lonely time. There continues to be so much uncertainty in front of us. There have been losses and hardships. There's been unrest and injustices in our community. Our hearts and our minds, I think, are just heavy and worn. And as a parent who soothes and holds their child close, I think it's important for us to remember that God is doing that for us today and every day. He's there for us when we are weak and vulnerable, when the weight we're carrying is heavy, and when the outlook seems a bit dim. You are not alone. God shows up, and I truly believe that He's working through all of us to provide this presence for others. And my hope, my message in really all of this is that we continue to show up, that we continue to be present for our loved ones, for our neighbors, and may we be open and creative about new ways to do this for each other, new ways to serve, to practice our faith, and to feel God's presence beside us. Thanks for giving me this time tonight, and God bless.